important part about having anxiety is being able to acknowledge it. Because once you've done that, then you can take control of it and not let it control your life. Every region of the world right now is undergoing different restrictions with this pandemic. I know that some areas were doing really well and we're opening up, after a while of being closed down with so many restrictions. And now some places are being set back because of new growing cases of COVID. So if you're in Canada or any other region where things are pretty much opened up for the most part and you're able to go see your friends, maybe this video isn't exactly to date for you right now. I'm really hoping that it's not going to be useful for you if we have a really big second wave and, we do have to go back into a huge quarantine with all of these social gathering restrictions. But if you're from somewhere like, example, the US, where certain states are going back into these controlled gatherings, I can only hope that this video was useful and informative for you if you do have to be going back into quarantine. Again, I'm no expert on this topic. I did ask my friends and the people that I know what they do to help ease their mind when they do have an anxiety spike during this pandemic, and this is what I got. A really big part of trying to make yourself feel good on the inside is making sure that you are putting the right things into your body. Sure, giving into your cravings and eating a whole medium pizza to yourself when you're having a bad day can happen. I'm definitely guilty of that. But if you're going to put junk food into your stomach on the regular, you're just gonna end up feeling worse and feeling like a couch potato. Make sure you drink lots of water. Maybe ease up a little bit on the drinking. I know a lot of people have been kind of indulging during this time off, spending a lot of time with getting woozy. Make sure that your body is getting the vitamins and the nutrients that it needs to feel better. Leave your house if you feel cooped up, go for a walk. Go outside, soak up some vitamin D, because that might be the only kind of D that you're able to get right now. I'm running a lot more. That's also due to the lack of gym. I've been trying to run when I'm up at somewhat a normal hour. For me, going outside and staying active are super important. And sometimes I just go for a walk or run to reset if I'm feeling helpless. With a lot of the gyms not being open for use, a lot of us have been trying to find alternative ways to get workouts done. Now, I don't really have your home gym setup. I have a very limited amount of equipment. So like a lot of my friends that I spoke to, I did turn to running. At first, I really did not like it. But I realized the more I did it, the easier it became, the more enjoyable it was. And a really big part of that is actually because of the endorphins that get released when you work out, which is such a crucial thing that people with anxiety need. Now, I'm not saying go ahead and run a marathon every single day. That's crazy. What I started doing was doing a light jog, combining that with a lot of walking. Like say I would reach a stop sign and be like, hey, I'm gonna sprint until the next stop sign, and just doing that in small increments. Just run and do what makes you feel comfortable. And the important part is you don't have to push yourself. Go outside, get your heart and lungs pumping, and you'll start to see the difference. So another thing, what if it's raining and you can't go outside? If it's a rainy day, I'll try my best to stay off my phone or laptop, unless I'm doing work, as much as possible. I cut down on my phone usage a lot and find it makes me appreciate literally everything in my daily life so much more. I'll read a book or play a board game instead. I can honestly agree with that, and I found that my mood has significantly changed based on where I decide to connect and disconnect. Making time to FaceTime or Zoom call my friends, on the regular made such an incredible difference on my mood during this pandemic. Obviously, it's not the same thing as, sitting in a room or being at a bar with your friends, but it's a lot more comforting than just relying on text for a few months. Technology is incredible in that sense, that we are so lucky that we are able to communicate with our friends and see them almost face to face during all of this. And with all of the different social medias that are out there, it's really easy to feel overwhelmed by all the news that's being pretty much thrown at your face. I definitely stay away from the news. I'd rather not be in a state of fear. I think only reading news from health officials and avoiding comments is the way to go. In the beginning of all of this, I was in a mentality where I wanted to know every update of COVID-19. My region, place where I'm trying to get a job, which is another province from here, looking at what was going on in the States. I just didn't want to be going through this pandemic being unprepared and unsure of what precautions I need to take every time I need to go outside and do something. And eventually, as you could probably guess, my mind was so overwhelmed with all the negative news that was being circulated on all the social media platforms. There was everything going on with the protests, the rioting, constantly feeding my mind with all the hurt and all the suffering that our world has been enduring. It was draining me mentally. I wasn't sleeping right. I was getting these terrible nightmares where I would be afraid to go back to sleep. And just because of all that, I was so exhausted and I just decided to shut it all off. Turns out disconnecting yourself from social media for a little bit does wonders to your mental state. After only one day of not using Instagram or Facebook, I was finding myself feeling more relieved, sleeping better, I wasn't having these crazy nightmares, and I was feeling a lot more at peace with myself. Disconnecting gave me more time for the little things that I want to do and that matter to me, just indulging time for myself, which is so important when you're feeling really overwhelmed and stressed. I often went walking to my favorite spot, which is like a large pond, and I would sit there on a rock and just kind of meditate for a little bit and take the time to journal. I felt that journaling really helped me release the negative thoughts that I had going on and helped me also reflect on the positive things that were going on in my life and all the things that I had to look forward to once all of this was over. I also found what really helped was keeping an electronic journal. So I use this app called Dailyo, and basically what it does is that you can log in all of your activities during a day. I found that really helped me promote productivity and also kind of ensure that not every day was a repetition of itself and every day was just kind of meshing and blending together. I do find that giving myself structure in a day helps too. I decided to take online courses and set up 3 hours of my day to work on those. And making a bit of a to-do list helps as well. At the same time, you shouldn't expect yourself to be fully 100% functional during a global pandemic and thinking that you need to be productive every single day. Thinking with that kind of mentality will only stress you out even more and will make the things that you want to do become more of a chore and less of something that is more relieving and relaxing to you. On rough days, I set really low expectations for myself. I don't beat myself up for not getting work done or my apartment being a mess. I do things that make me happy, like bake or read or call a friend. And sometimes I go for a walk or run to reset if I'm feeling helpless. Sometimes your anxiety takes a bit of a spike and you're having a rough time, and it's okay, that happens. And in those cases, even just the small things that you do during the day, just being able to get dressed in a day instead of wearing your pajamas, that in itself can be seen as an accomplishment. Or even something as small as taking care of your giant heap of laundry or doing a load of dishes. It can be something really small and you can just congratulate yourself for doing something a little bit productive when you're in a really deep low. For the ladies, doing your hair, doing your makeup, even though you're not going anywhere, makes such a difference, and it's just a confident boost for yourself. You're not doing your makeup for anyone else, you're doing it to make yourself feel good, and that is such an empowering feeling that you can give yourself that kind of satisfaction. Get up, get dressed, do it for you because it makes you feel good. Treat yourself to a $10 bath bomb. Have a bath, take care of yourself. My favorite suggestion was actually from one of my friends who said, I've actually been tending to go back to childhood comforts to ease anxiety, playing N64 games, baking old family recipes, and going for short jogs late at night. If video games aren't really your style, I've also been suggested from some of the people I spoke to that adult coloring books have been really useful to help you relax, kind of get out of that stressful mentality, and it'll also ease your way to prep yourself for bed. Be open to trying new things. I'm normally not a baker. I don't like baking. I am a cook, okay? And I decided, just for the hell of it, to start getting into it. And it was really great. I made like a nice blueberry lemon loaf for my dad for Father's Day. Just remember that you are not obliged to be productive when you are feeling stressed, unless you are working from home and you have no choice but to work. I cannot stress this enough. Just do what makes you feel good. The rest will follow. So that pretty much concludes this video. I hope it was useful for any of you guys watching, whether you have anxiety or not. Obviously, I can't speak for everyone and what they're experiencing during their time with anxiety in this pandemic. And if you're ever not sure how someone's feeling who does have anxiety and you're worried about them, the best thing that you can do is literally just ask. Just ask them how they're doing. You just being there for them when they need it means the world for anyone who has anxiety. No matter where you are in the world, Anxiety is so common between so many people and we just don't really talk about it enough. The important part is just to make sure that we can take care of ourselves during this time. That way we can take control of our anxiety so it doesn't control us. Again, I'm not a professional. I try to do as much research as I can to, ease the symptoms of having anxiety and depression and a sleeping disorder all together during this pandemic. Whatever stresses you're going through right now and whatever uncertainties you may have, just keep pushing forward, keep taking care of yourself. This isn't gonna last forever, so just remember there is an end to all of this and everything's gonna be okay. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!